So I think a lot of people are confused on the way the system works, and birth certificates. A lot of people are saying that it's probate, to do with probate, to do with different things, blah blah blah. From my understanding, when you're born, your mother is the informant or your father, whomever it is. Now that first part is the lawful part to be registered as part of mankind. So you're moving from wild, savage, wild, to being registered as part of mankind. And that puts you into a position of having a birthright. So that birthright is a gift from the king under the king's laws. And the king's laws are found under the authorized King James Bible, Queen's Printer Edition, still in every court and court library in Canada and most lawyers' offices, etc. So that birthright then uh, is being administered by the government willingly because your mother or father, whoever was in that office, uh, became informant to the government to make a estate under the family name, uh, the estate name, and then to provide the given name of the offspring. Now, as most people say, the documents are left at the hospital. Usually, when the mother goes home, that means the mother abandoned the infant. The documents are the infant. The baby is the living. So, your birth certificate is provided within a security trust through Her Majesty's security debt owed to Her Majesty regulations in Canada, and under the Canadian Control and Determination Act, decides how much you've got, I believe, in that, or how it works per age. I haven't read it fully, just skimmed through it, so I've got to go back and read that one again. But you get a security debt. That is your debt to Her Majesty, which is a corporation that set up that holds your birthright, your sovereign birthright, your share of the Commonwealth, your trust estates. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know exactly what it holds, but I know it holds the birthright. And so with the birthright, with the monarch being donated to the birthright, you're the donor, they're the donee. They hold a security, and they were supposed to hold that security till you were 18. And that security then pays the public. Now, the public is the offices, not the people. The public offices, like medical offices, educational offices, policing offices, anything necessary for your upbringing to the age of 18. So your schooling, everything, anything the government supported that you thought was free is not. It comes out of your security debt owed to Her Majesty regulations, which you can look up. And at 18, you were supposed to learn how to collapse that security debt. Now, what is this? A birth certificate. So a birth certificate is the certificate that the government administrates through the minister registrar who signed that certificate, which it says and explains this in the Vital Statistics Act. You just explains that when you go in for public services, doctors, libraries, whatever you're joining, that's a public service. That information goes up to the minister. When you use that public service, it goes up to the ministers, and the ministers then order your birth certificate from the registrar, which is signed and sealed by the registrar, for they're accountable for you while you're a financial minor, infant. You're a financial infant, because that's what this is all around, the economy. Law is always based around economy. And this is a Christian economy, and originally in a Christian economy there is no currency. Everyone's taught accounting because currency creates greed, and in Christian economy there's no greed because there's only accounting. There's no currency. everything's of true value or some certain, or is set off or accepted, or all of that banking terms that we are not educated on because they just said, bank with us. So anyway, the birth certificate then is ordered from the minister and goes to the minister of the province that you're living in. That minister then, he takes what the payment for the services, for the medical, for whatever you got. The minister takes the payment from your birth certificate, and that's what's supposed to happen until you're 18. And you got between 18 and 25, and you're supposed to reclaim your security and collapse the security debt owed to Her Majesty, which takes you out of debt, which also then takes Canada out of debt. You don't take Canada out of debt by paying out of fiat currency that you've been working for in the marketplace, public marketplace. You get the country out of debt by collapsing the security debt owed to Her Majesty. And then you take over. They can no longer then issue birth certificates out of your, they can issue them to you. They can issue them to you, and you can still use the register properly and learn how to use those birth certificates and have them authenticated and use them properly to the ministers yourself to set yourself up a line of credit, etc., various things when you learn how to do that level of banking for yourself, which was actually what our Christian economy is based off of, and what the actual authorized King James Bible, Queen's Printer Edition, when read with law dictionaries and financial dictionaries, is explaining. That all the living, because there's two worlds, nature and commerce, living and the dead, which is corporate paper, dead legal fiction, and all the living are supposed to be under Christ, being their trusts and being banking directly, knowing their estates, claiming their estates, knowing their rights and as the living, and claiming their banking and banking with the treasury. The living are supposed to be banking with the treasury. And there are many people in this country who bank with the treasury. Don't be fooled. They do. And there are people who have phoned in to various offices and discussed reclaiming their securities and which forms to file and et cetera, et cetera. There's various ways to do it. And yet there's only certain simplistic ways to do it. So that's not for me to educate anyone. I'm still learning a lot of that myself. But so when it comes to the birth certificate, it's not about probate at all. It's reading your Federal Vital Statistic Act to understand how that the certificate then creates the bond so that they can withdraw the funds out of the security debt to Her Majesty that you donated your birthright to. So you donated millions of dollars to Her Majesty's security, and then they're going to decide about how much you get, because now you're in debt to them every time you use anything out of the donation you've placed in there. So the end goal in a Christian economy is that you remove yourself from under the monarch and remove out of being a human, because according to Blackstone's commentaries on English law, absolute right of the individual, humans are only those who are donors to the monarch and donors to Her Majesty's security debt corporation cause. So it's a very good purpose. I mean, we want our kids to be educated. We want our kids to have this thing. So, but the problem is somebody removed from the education system, how to remove yourself out of the Law Society ward that this standing of law places you in as an infant, a financial infant, and thus why you want to amend your record and learn the applications that are necessary. So yeah, just anybody who thinks that a birth certificate is about probate, is not. It's about paying for services, public services, and that's done through the ministers, through the Vital Statistics Act, and between the registrar and the public service agencies, hospitals, whatever you've been using. And that's until we become mature enough and claim our rights, then they're administering as if we're children still, because we are still financial minors, no matter what age. Our parents and our grandparents are passing away as financial minors, not knowing, because they never even just read all the legislation. So I highly recommend that. Read the legislation, read Encyclopedia of Canada online. There's the old historical statutes in there. Grasp the King James, authorized King James Bible Queen's Printer Edition is still in every courthouse. Use that. Because there is many laws. Every law system is its own and is still going. It started, even though it may start today, it's the same today as it was yesterday, as it will be tomorrow. It's a patented process system. So learn the patented process you belong to, and you will find your freedom out of the corporate overreach that's happening on our planet right now.